Sessions and lessons. Sessions and lessons unscripted. And now your hosts, Joel and Gloria Rosario.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Joel Rosario, and welcome to Sessions and Lessons Unscripted. As always, here by my side, the lovely, wonderful, funny, what else?
Keep it going.
Intelligent, and she smells terrific.
Yes.
Gloria Rosario, everybody.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Yeah, I can't speak today.
See, you got all flustered after all that stuff I was saying about you.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again, as always. I hope everybody had a good week, good day, good everything.
Yes.
How was your day?
Good, quiet, fast, just like I like it.
Quiet, fast.
Yep. Good, quiet, and fast.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna get right into it in this episode. Gloria had some stuff she wanted to, talk about. What was that, Gloria?
So today we're going to be talking about caring for a family member that's ill. Particularly, I want to talk about my grandmother on this episode.
Okay.
And basically, I just wanted to kind of touch base on what it's like to take care of somebody with Alzheimer's.
And then she also has dementia and
She's in the beginning stages. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, just really quick, Gloria has a background in nursing assistants and she's a caregiver. How about you tell everybody kind of how you got into that?
Oh boy. Well, I do have other certificates and I have worked in other aspects and fields within the medical industry. So basically I got into it probably when I was about 18. And I've been doing it basically
Ever since 18?
On and off in different aspects and different offices and different job titles, of course, not the same thing. But I started off as a CNA. I went to school for it. I got a certificate. I got certified. Then I went on to get other certificates, phlebotomy, and then I went to physical assistance, and then, I just a whole bunch of different.
Would you say that was something you were really passionate about, or is it just, did you just pick it as just a job or whatever?
Basically, my mom was hounding me at 18 to do something.
To pick something.
Right. I didn't like the idea of college. I was never 9 to 5, or what is it, 7 to 3 student,
Right.
if you will. I did really good in school, but I just didn't really want to. I was more interested in, I guess, living life at that age.
Well, you're young,
at
right?
18,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you want to do everything.
Right.
I wanted to travel. I wanted to party. Just basically wanted to do things my way.
Right.
But I did actually get into it just because I was debating on whether or not I wanted to go to school for nursing. And I used
Like actually nursing.
like an actual registered nurse. But once I got into it, I never really fully, I guess, had my heart in it to become a nurse.
Okay.
As a nurse, you kind of, you have contact with patients and stuff, but I wanted to do more. Not that I don't have respect for nurses. Trust me, nurses.
Being a nurse has got to be kind of rough.
They are so overworked, and it was just like it was more honestly
weird hours.
Yeah, and it was more responsibility than I wanted to take.
Right.
You're responsible for somebody's life, like the wrong dosage of medication, and you.
In fact, not to kind of slight on doctors, but
Mhm.
seems like nurses do more than doctors sometimes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I know that firsthand because, I mean, working in the medical field, you're exposed to everything. So that's basically how I got into it, just to see if I wanted to be a full-time nurse, and it just
Wasn't for you.
it wasn't for me. And it wasn't that I didn't think that I could hack it in school or anything like that. It was just you have to be a certain kind of person to be a nurse, and I am not that person.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, not everybody's called for things.
No. And not that being a CNA or PCT is like any less, It's just I wanted to have more freedom. And I felt like
Makes sense.
being a nurse, you would always have to be like, you're always in demand. I mean,
yeah.
nursing and anything in the medical field is always going to be in high demand. They are so short staffed,
It's a very demanding job.
very demanding,
Yeah.
very underpaid, overworked, you know. So when I first started, I was working in a facility, and I did that for a few years, and I just I loved it. I got along well with the nurses. I got along with the other staff. I loved all the patients on the floors. I knew everybody, but eventually I burned out.
Right.
I was working double shifts, 6 days a week, only having one day off. It was a lot.
Man.
And like I said, it just got to be too much. So I decided to go into the private sector, which is home health.
Right.
And I think I like that more, just because you're on a one-to-one basis with patients and clients, and it's way different than working in a facility.
Right.
Sometimes in a facility you can have up to 20 patients.
Right.
20 patients between one nurse and two PCTs or two CNAs. That's a lot.
So now the agency that you and I never really thought about it or knew about it too much before I met you, but basically you're like you work for an agency that sends people out to the elderly and
Yes and no. So I'm what they called a preferred caregiver.
Okay.
Which means that I'm specifically designated to a family member or a friend within my family.
Okay.
Or within my circle of friends, or it just means I'm a preferred caregiver. Like, I don't know how else to explain it.
That's fine.
But basically what it is that I report to nurse, I report to an office, and they oversee everything.
Of course.
So it's like I'm an independent contractor, but I'm not. Like, I still have to answer to people and stuff, but I devised my grandmother's care plan. I work with the nurses. I work with the lab techs that come and withdraw blood from my grandmother. So it's basically me taking care of my grandmother, and I get paid for it through the state.
Okay.
And then I have to report to like different agencies. Like, I have to report to the Department of Aging. Also, what is it called? There's the Department of Aging, and then there is the insurance that I actually have to have a lot of contact with.
Right.
And then my supervisor, which is like the agency,
But then as a whole, they send people out to take care of people, right? Basically.
Yeah, the agency does that. I don't go to anybody else's house but my grandmother's house.
Okay.
So basically I'm with her. Well, I get a certain amount of hours to take care of her, but I'm there,
Well, yeah, you're there all the time.
I'm there all the time.
Yeah.
20, I think I get like 30 something hours a week. And that's not enough to take care of somebody who has, Alzheimer's.
Well, it's an important job.
Well, yeah, I
Well,
would
that
re-
and then your mom kind of fell ill,
yeah,
so you got two people to take care of now.
the joke is that I need to open my own nursing
Yeah, you gotta
home.
open your own facility.
Yes, because my mom last year my mom had a stroke, and then not too long after that, my grandmother had a stroke.
Right.
So they were in two different hospitals
That was
across
part of
town.
our 2024.
What a grand
Oh,
year.
I bet the worst ever.
No, um so before I did that, I I was doing physical therapy work.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother gets the best of everything because it's
Because
me.
you've done it all.
I've done it all. So
No, that's
I could
good.
do everything for her except for draw blood because I don't have I lapsed in that.
I know when I met you, it kind of changed a little bit for a short period of time because you had an accident.
Well, yeah. We'll probably talk about it on another episode, because I have mentioned it, in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I had an accident and I couldn't work, um, any longer with the physical therapy.
Right.
I was a liability at that point because I lost
You had a head injury.
well, I had a head injury and I lost my balance. And being in physical therapy, you can't do that kind of stuff. You
Well,
can't
no.
have, balance issues when most of your patients or most of your clients don't have balance.
Right. They don't have mobility or whatever.
No. So I was liability and I went into I became a private cook and then, whatever.
Yeah, that's
But during this whole time I've been taking care of my grandmother, it's at this point I think it's about
it's been a while.
14 years that I've been taking care of my
Wow.
grandmother. And I've had other jobs like,
Well, yeah.
in between then, um but my grandmother's basically like, not a job.
You're well, but it's most of your life. It's most of your time.
It's all of my time, if
Right.
not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard, and I wanted to talk about it in the sense of like, I don't think people realize how stressful it can be to take care of somebody. Not just somebody with Alzheimer's, but somebody like my mom who had a stroke,
Well, yeah. It's if you
it
have aging parents and
yeah,
yeah.
and that can weigh a lot on you,
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of wanted to talk about, the negatives and the positives of it,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of see if anybody else out there kind of felt the same way that I did. Because it does take a toll on you mentally, you know.
Right.
Physically it's just like, it's kind of funny because um you wouldn't think that just being with one person you wouldn't get tired, but in the beginning when my grandmother got out of the hospital last year, she wasn't able to walk. So it was basically me lifting her and, doing
Yeah. The physical, very
it's so
physical.
physical, and it's just like people assume that just because I am with my grandmother that I'm just, always sitting around just kind of hanging out with her. But it's so much more than that. It's so much more than helping her with the activities of daily living,
Well, you have to help her with eating and bathing and
everything.
bathroom. Yeah.
Well, it's, like I said, she's like a client, but she's not because she's my grandmother.
Right.
So, I guess where I was going with this is I just wanted to kind of talk about it because it's something that I don't talk about very often.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten a lot better. It's gotten so much better that, I think I've mentioned it in the past that, you know, my grandmother, she couldn't even like climb stairs before after her accident. She was very unstable, and at this point, she's still unstable.
At one point, didn't she forget how to use stairs?
Yeah,
She like forgot how to use stairs.
she forgot, and that was so hard because,
Right.
again, it's the physical part where I would have to help her. And it was just my grandmother had to relearn things after her stroke.
Right.
I did a lot of exercises with her, and then, I felt like I wasn't progressing with her. And then all of a
Which I
sudden,
would assume is very discouraging.
it's very
That
discouraging.
causes more stress.
And yeah, it does because it's like I've worked with people who have mobility issues, I've worked with quads and um all sorts of patients that I've worked with.
Mm.
And I'm always so excited when, I get someone who had a hip injury. That sounds so wrong, right?
Yeah, it sounds kind of
It
messed up.
sounded wrong. No,
Mm.
I get excited for them because I know that I can help them.
Right.
If they work with me and if they give me time and they put in the effort, I can help them walk again.
Mm.
You know, and with my grandmother, I felt like I wasn't progressing,
Mm.
and it's frustrating because, like I said, you put a lot of time and effort into, doing stuff, and it's just like,
Well, and it's got to be rough too because she's. I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive, but she's not getting any younger.
no, she just,
So
this March 19th, I think. March 19th, she turned 89 years old.
wow.
And let me tell you something. This lady is pulling my leg because we recently discovered that she is able to do a lot more. She just doesn't want to, which is, I was upset and I was happy at the same time because it's just like, oh my gosh, lady, like, you know, do stuff. But then it's like you have to remember, like, she's got Alzheimer's and, she can't help certain behaviors,
Right.
So I guess what happened one weekend is that my mom had called me and she's like, you know, I was thinking I was talking to your grandmother, and when I went into the living room, which is where I left her, she wasn't there, but her chair was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, stop. And my mom was like, no, really. So she's like, I went into the room and there she was, laying on the bed with the covers on her.
Wow.
And I was like, do you know how long I've been working with her to take this like 5 steps without the walker? And I was so upset, but I was so happy, like, at the same time.
Right.
And I get that a lot with my grandmother where I'm like super happy about stuff, like, yay, we did it. And so frustrated because it's like,
Could that just be like I don't know what the word is, but it's because she's like there's like lapses in her memory or whatever, and then things just kind of come back to her and she just
yeah, I
remembers.
think that has a lot to do with it, but also she also tells me she doesn't want to do things.
Oh, she's
So,
being difficult. Yeah, there's those days where you come home and it's like, oh, it was a bad day or whatever.
yeah, but that's kind of one of the things that I was going to talk about, because in taking care of my grandmother for all that time,
Mm.
you know, um, there's a lot of positives that I've gained from it.
So let's go with that then.
Okay,
What
we'll
are
start with the
what are the
positives.
positives of your caregiving?
Okay, so one of the things that I've really gained from my experience with my grandmother
Mm.
has been that I have increased empathy and patience.
Okay.
You know me, I'm not a very patient person. I want things
Neither am
done.
I.
No, I want things done 3 days ago.
Yes.
You know, but with my grandmother, it's a different world. Like, I have to go at her pace.
Well, you have to.
I
Yeah.
have to. I have
Yeah.
no choice. And
Choice.
what does that teach me? Patience,
Yeah.
And empathy is like, I have to remember and put myself in her shoes. Like, when I'm giving her instructions or when she's, trying to learn something,
Uh-huh.
I have to be empathetic and put myself in her shoes because it's just like
Well, she's an older woman.
she's an older woman,
Yeah.
and she's slower and
Right.
she's not as strong as she used to
And
be.
you're gonna be that one day.
Right. We're all headed
All gonna
that.
be that.
Maybe not with Alzheimer's.
Yeah, but we're still all gonna be.
We're all gonna be
Yeah, we're gonna
old
age.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So we don't think about that often.
Right.
And that's another thing too. I've learned to put myself in her position and be like, well, one day I'm gonna be there, so hopefully, things won't be that bad.
Right.
And my life's perspective has changed so much. I've learned to appreciate all the little things.
Mm-hmm.
All the little things, like,
Well, you never
especially
know when it's gonna be gone.
no, and especially in, my daily activities with her. It's just like if we're having ice cream, it's like I take my time with that.
Right.
And it seems so like small, but it's not small for her.
Right.
It's a moment that we're sharing, and I like learn to savor every single moment with my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's just us, sitting around and just like talking, and or whether she's telling me the same story for the 30th time.
Right.
you know, that's a lot. That's a lot. So you tend to appreciate the present and living in the moment. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that, I've had with
Right.
that. Um, I've also learned to be I've had to learn to problem solve and engineer things because, you have to learn to adapt to,
Oh, absolutely.
one day my grandmother's okay and other days she's just like doesn't want to cooperate. And it's just always my grandmother, she keeps me on my toes so much.
Mm.
you know but the things that come out of her mouth just kind of like sometimes surprise me. Sometimes we
Like,
think
what comes out of her mouth that surprises you?
no, like sometimes we think that she's not paying attention, and I'll be like, oh man, she's just so
Like out of it or
out of
whatever.
it today. And my grandma will be like, no, I'm not, you're out of it. And it's like she gets snappy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in that I've learned to communicate with her, and I've learned to read her, and I've learned to read body language,
Mm.
which that has helped me outside of, dealing with my grandmother. I don't need verbal cues, or I don't need her to tell me what she needs. It's like I can read her like a book.
Well, you've been with her so long
Well,
too.
yeah, at this point,
Yeah.
she breathes weird and I already know that there's something wrong, It's a gift, you know.
Mhm.
Um so the negative parts of it have been there's a lot of grief and loss that comes with it. I've seen her go from this woman that used to, you know, behead chickens and cook and, get up in the morning and feed the cows and just like being the strong person
Mhm.
to what she is now. And it's like, it's so disheartening to see that, you know,
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it's aging.
it's
That's
of
just
course she's
happens, right?
89 years old. Of course
Yeah.
it happens, but I'm talking like the memories and stuff. And a lot of the memories that I have of her, she doesn't
She doesn't
remember.
remember.
No, she doesn't remember. She knows who I am. She knows who my mom is. Um, she knows some of her kids. She'll remember on and off and stuff.
How many kids does she have?
I think 7.
7?
Yes. The weird thing is that she remembers that she has all these kids, but she can't always remember their names, especially if they haven't seen her in a while.
Right.
But her favorite, she'll be like, "Oh, this is such and such." But even that's changing, and it's kind of I don't want to say sad, but it kind of just does something to me when I see her and she doesn't remember like one of my brothers, or she doesn't. Um,
Does that happen where she doesn't remember one of your brothers?
well, she doesn't remember my youngest brother all the time.
Mm.
The brother that follows me, um, she raised him, so she remembers him more than my other cousins.
Right.
But even now, she's getting to the point where she has to kind of really
It's
think.
starting to fade away.
Yeah, that's starting to fade away, and it's like, oh. But like I said, that's to be expected,
Right.
you know. Um, a lot of the times too, and please don't take this like the wrong way. I would never abuse my grandmother in any way, shape, or form. No, really.
No, I didn't mean to laugh, but I know.
You know where this is going.
Yeah, I know.
There could be moments of frustration, you know, um, like I was talking about in the beginning, how I work so much with her physically to get her to be able to walk and to, do things for herself. And the guilt of not seeing the results, and, like, what am I not doing right? or if her behavior starts to change, I'm thinking like, what did I do?
I think
Or
it's understandable to get frustrated
right, and you get frustrated, and that's with anybody.
because it's weird because getting older and in your elder years, it's almost like you're regressing to your infancy. That isn't, wouldn't you say that? Because
Yes.
I mean, let's face it, when you're an infant, you have to be fed, you have to be taken care of, you have to be changed, you have to be bathed, on and on and on. And then when you become elderly and at a certain age, again, you have to be fed, you have to be dressed, you have to be, bathed, just like if you were an infant.
Yeah, but it's so much more than that. Like I I feel like we think of older people and we just see them for their physical, you know, but we don't see what they go through like mentally. It has to be well, I know it's difficult
Mm,
to have somebody come into your life and dictate what they're going to do for you
mhm.
instead of you dictating to them what you want done.
Right,
My grandmother doesn't have the ability to communicate that. So she's on my schedule.
right,
You know what I mean? And I understand that it can be frustrating for her too, because if she doesn't want to do something, but I'm on a schedule, like, we have to compromise here. Something has to give.
right.
And a lot of the times, not just my grandmother with Alzheimer's, but I've noticed, and again, because I've worked a lot in geriatrics and, nursing homes and all sorts of facilities, um, a lot of the times we don't see them as people anymore because they're older and they're not quote unquote as useful as they used to be when they were
Yeah,
younger.
yeah,
You know, a lot of the times when I love talking to older people. I'm not talking like people in their 50s. I'm talking about like older people,
right.
like our grandparents' generation, because they have so much to tell you and so many stories and so much wisdom.
Yeah,
But because we're younger and we're always on the go and we're, distracted by media, television, and
especially now.
now, we're always me, we don't take the time to speak and get to know our elders. And that is such a sad thing because it's like they have so many things to, contribute and to say and to teach.
Hmm.
And I just love sitting with older people and just having these conversations because it's like you think about how long my grandmother's been alive. She's 89 years old. The things that she has seen from the time that she was a little girl and she has that memory and that recollection to now, you know, you think about how much she's been through and how much she's seen and how much the world around her has changed. Like back when she was growing up, she was in Mexico, they didn't have telephones. Now we
Hmm.
walk around with these little computers in our hands.
I would imagine it's kind of confusing for her nowadays. Would you say that, or
Yeah, like
she's
even
very
sometimes I'll
confused?
be sitting there like on the phone and she'll be like, "What's that box you always have with you?" I was like, "What box?" "The box. The box that's in your hand." And I'm like, "This?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Grandma, that's a phone." She's like, "No, that's not a phone." I was like, "Yes, Grandma, this is a phone."
Mm.
And then I'll look and I'll show her the buttons and then I'll show her pictures on there. And she'll just be like so in awe of this like thing that we take for granted,
Yeah.
that's always attached to our hands.
Hmm.
And here she is just like mesmerized by it.
It's kind of, if you really think about it, it's kind of, there's an innocence with that, isn't it? It's like a little, like
It's
when a little kid discovers
That's what I was
something,
gonna say. My grandmother can be childlike.
right?
And it's just like even now, like she doesn't remember a lot, but when she remembers stuff, she will not stop talking. She talks about, how it was when she was growing up, and she'll tell me stories about like how she met my grandpa, things that she's never, told my cousins and stuff, she'll tell me. And it's just like, you know, and I'm not. saying anything, negative about my family at all. But it's just like we all have the same opportunities, to have conversations with her.
Right.
And people miss out so much because people think that,
You
oh,
gotta,
she's not with it or she doesn't earn.
yeah,
Yeah, she is. She's still a person.
you gotta take advantage of those opportunities because, like I said, you never know when you don't have it.
No.
It's gonna
And
be
like I
taken
said,
away.
that is why I savor every single moment with my grandmother, whether I'm stressed out, whether I'm laughing. I am so grateful to be able to have the honor of taking care of her because to me that's an honor.
Yeah.
Um
Well, she's like the matriarch of your
well,
family.
yeah, and plus she's like 89. Like there was so many times where has been in the hospital and we're like, "Oh man, she's probably not going to make it."
I'm since I've met you, it's been a couple
It's been a
times.
couple of times and I come
Yeah.
home and I'm like crying and you're like, "She's a strong woman, but she's older." And next thing
Oh,
I
she's
know,
a tough cookie for sure.
next thing I know, I come home and oh, she's going back home. You know what I mean? And it's like that is like the best feeling ever when you see her that she's had like a rough time and then she gets better.
Right.
That to me is like the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
So getting back to, the negative aspects of it, um, there's a lot of mental and physical burnout and stress
Mm-hmm.
and isolation that comes with it. You know, um, I would rather be the person to take care of my grandmother because I've had, experience in so many things in the medical field,
Right.
but it is such a how can I put it? It is the most rewarding and the most tiring thing at the same time. I often find myself um stressed out.
Right.
Even if it's a light day, I'm still stressed out, just because there's always something that needs to get done. And that's fine. People say, well, that's what you get paid for. That's your job.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. That is my job, but I'm still a human. I'm still a person and I get tired and I get stressed out and I get, angry.
Yeah, I mean it's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one time I was talking to one of my clients and she was telling me that she had a lot of guilt sometimes because she would feel so tired after taking care of like her husband.
Mm-hmm.
And she would say like, sometimes I just want to rip my hair out, you know? And she was telling me this and she's like, and I feel so guilty for telling you. And I was like, let me tell you something. I was like, I go through the same emotions that you go through. I was like, it's normal, to be burned out and to be stressed out and to like, even on days where I'm just sitting there doing nothing because there are those days. I mean, she's 89. I'm not going to be taking her to like
Well, yeah.
marathons and
It's
stuff,
limited. Yeah, it's limited.
It's limited. Like after she's done walking and doing her little exercises, like there's not much she wants to do.
Right.
She's 89. She's going to nap.
There you go with the naps.
Right. That's where I get it from.
That's where you get it from, yes,
Yeah.
from grandma.
But, I just find it that, in speaking with other people and, I joined a Facebook group where it's caregivers that take care of like their parents, grandparents, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the commonalities that I find, with people in the group is like this guilt. You know, there was this one lady on there that I was talking to not too long ago, and she was like, I haven't gone on vacation in like 10 years. She takes care of her mom. She also
Wow.
has Alzheimer's.
Mm.
And she was like, I feel so guilty because she finally booked a vacation with her husband. First time in 10 years. And I was like, is your mom going to be taken care of? Or like, what's the deal?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, we temporarily hired an agency to come like take care of her and
Keep an eye on.
everything's in place, the emergency numbers, this and that. I was like, so what's stopping you from enjoying your vacation after like 10 years? She's like, I just feel so guilty. And I was like, you have to take care of yourself before you take care of her.
Yeah.
Because if you're not mentally right and you're not mentally stable and in the right state of mind to take care of someone, that can actually lead to negative behaviors and, abuse towards.
Well, you can't take care of someone else if you don't take care of yourself.
Right. And
Right.
that's one of the things that I've learned. It's okay to say, no, I can't. You guys figure it out. Or let's come up with some sort of plan so I can get a few days off and, and it's gotten a lot better. And like I said, now, and taking care of my mom too. It's not just one person, that I'm taking care of. It's like two people.
Right.
And like I said, it's not difficult, but it's not easy.
Right.
Well,
it's challenging.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
And my mom doesn't have Alzheimer's. She's of sound mind, so
She's another tough cook.
she's another tough cookie, I'm just grateful to have them both here still.
For sure.
I have my moments in, where me and my mom are butting heads because that's,
Sure.
The relationship that I've had with her.
Mm.
But I don't think I would feel comfortable just like not being the one to take care of them because I know them so well. Like, it's my mom and my grandmother.
Right.
Like, why would I have somebody else come take care of my mom when I can take
Like
care
you
of
could take care of her.
Right. Nobody's going to take better care of my mom and my grandma than me. I'm a
Right.
family member.
Right.
So,
are there any more negatives or?
oh, there's a lot, but you know what I mean? I'm just trying to make it the most simple.
The general.
And I'm not trying to expose family members or
Yeah,
anything.
we're not about exposing family secrets.
No, so
Right.
Gotta keep that peace. But
So overall, what would you say? So overall, with all the positives and the negatives, what would you tell people out there that are in the same situations or kind of see themselves or see their aging parents heading towards that direction? What would you say? What advice or what words would you tell them?
find balance in your life. There has to be a balance between taking care of them and taking care of yourself. And this is something that I think everyone's heard at some point or another in their life. If you're traveling on a plane with a 2 3-year-old and you're an adult, right? And the plane is going down, who do you put the oxygen mask on first?
Uh,
No, I'm asking you, who would you put the mask on first?
on the child.
No. You put the mask on yourself first, and then you do it to the child. Let me tell you why. Because in that time that you put the oxygen mask on that kid, what happens if you pass out first?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You have to be the one to take care of yourself first
Right.
to be able to take care of other people. And see, a lot of people that don't have experience with this or are on the outside saying do this, do that, don't understand that you have to take care of yourself before you take care of somebody else.
Mm.
Because if not, both of you are going to end up in a bad situation, I'd hate to be that kid in the airplane with no oxygen with my mom passed out next to me,
That's true.
So, no. And that's an analogy that I often say to people, when they're like, oh, well, I was like, no, you have to take care of you first. You're number one in your life. And then once you take care of yourself and give yourself that oxygen, you could take care of, whoever needs to get taken care of. So one of the things is find balance in your life. And then another thing I mentioned too is seek support. Join Facebook groups. There are a whole ton of them out there. There's also not just support groups, but there's an Alzheimer's association that can guide you and give you referrals and, support and consultations and just anything you need, you know. Um, there's, other, um, Facebook groups and all that. So just there's help out there, you know. Um, and one of the most important things that you can do for somebody who has Alzheimer's is educate yourself and understand what the actual um symptoms are and what the
And how
effects
to
are
deal with them.
and how to deal with them.
Right.
You know, because a lot of times, and I've seen this 100 times, and like I said, I've been working in the home health, you know, um, and a lot of times, the kids will be like, "Yeah, I'll take care of mom. It'll be no problem."
Mm-hmm.
But people don't take into account the expense that it is to take care of somebody at home with Alzheimer's. They don't take into account the behaviors. If you don't have training and if you don't have the experience, you are going to burn out so quick. You know, I knew my grandmother had Alzheimer's before she had Alzheimer's. And that's because I had already had experience in the Alzheimer's
Yeah,
department.
you already knew.
Yeah, I already knew.
Yeah.
She had the signs and the symptoms. And, when I brought her up to family members, they were like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. It's great. That's your mom. You guys decide. But once she actually got the diagnosis, I was confident, like, oh, okay, I already know what to do.
Yeah.
But if you walk into a situation like this blindly, you are
Oh, I can
doing,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah. And especially with Alzheimer's, it's such a complicated, you know, thing to go through because there are so many physical, mental changes, behavioral changes, and everything happens, for some people it happens really quick. And for some people, if you catch it early enough and they get on the right medication, it doesn't affect them the same way. It slows.
Right.
Like there is no cure, but there is medication out there that slows the process down and, it's not a permanent solution, but it's better than, all of a sudden waking up and not, knowing anything,
Right.
you know?
So then you would say, have balance, educate yourself, look for help and support.
Yep. Take breaks, take vacations, and most importantly, take care of yourself first.
Right.
Self-care is the most important thing because again, if you are not mentally there, you can't be there for somebody else.
Right.
And oftentimes we're so busy taking care of other people that we forget, to take care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was just my little spiel with the Alzheimer's, didn't want to get too deep into it or anything like that. So, yep, that was it.
Well, I think that's I think it's great. And I am very fortunate to have you because I am going to need those services at some point. So I guess someone that got some experience under their belt. So
No, and it's just there's so many things that like I've seen on all spectrums of the medical field, and it's just like sometimes I wish I would have gone to become a
different
nurse,
direction.
a different direction, but I'm okay with where I'm at.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't see myself doing anything else. I've been doing this for a really long time. Like I said, I was in so many different settings. I've taken care of people anywhere from quads to paraplegics to people with AIDS, just all over the spectrum.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's so hard and it's so easy to burn out, but I wouldn't change it. I really wouldn't.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that's one of my passions, taking care of like people, like older people.
Right.
And it's so much more than wiping butts and,
Mm-hmm.
blood and, whatever comes with that. Because at the end of the day, it's a person,
Right.
a living human person.
Right. That has feelings.
Right. And the old elderly deserve just as much love and respect as anybody else.
Absolutely.
And we oftentimes forget that.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
All right, you guys. I think we're gonna end the episode there. It was Thank you for sharing all of that, Gloria.
Now I feel better.
No. All right, so yeah, maybe we'll put some of those resources on our site along with the other ones. So if you guys, anybody out there has aging parents or taking care of someone in your family that's elderly or anything, we'll put some of that stuff in the resources page on the website. Speaking of the website, please visit sessionsandlessonsunscripted.com. And there you can poke around, listen to the podcast, look at podcast news, write ups, whatever. Visit the resources page. Also, send us any mail you have, suggestions, you have stories to share, anything. Sessions and lessons mail at gmail.com. And the socials: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky. Just look us up on there. Engage. We will engage back. And we always like hearing from you guys and sharing things with you guys. So we're going to leave it here. You have anything else to add, Gloria?
Take care of yourself before you take care of anybody else. Put that oxygen mask on before you do it for anybody else.
Right.
Yep. That's it.
That's very useful information. All right, guys. So don't forget to, share and let people know about the podcast. We truly appreciate you, and from the bottom of our hearts. So we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.